Okay, I've got all the surfaces cleaned. As you can see, cleaned it all with a wire brush. Focus. It's not going to focus. Oh well. If I leave it alone. Okay. There we go. Well, anyway, you can see I've cleaned all the metal, cleaned all the old gasket off of it. Just ready for a new one. And I will be replacing it with a Stant, part number 13359. Even better, made in USA. And this is the thermostat that will be going in. Brand new. Of course, the spring part, that part goes towards the engine. And it should say something about instructions. It should say put the spring towards the engine. But anyways, that's the way it goes. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, no, that's not going to work. Evidently, I will have to glue this one in. Okay, well, so much for that. But it will stay that way. Yeah, that'll work. So the way to do that is to take and add a couple of drops of silicone sealant to the inside here. You can't see it. There you go. Yeah, put some there, and we'll put some there. Maybe some there. Maybe a little more. Do not like using very much of this stuff, so just a dot here and there as needed. .3M brand weather strip adhesive works really. The new gasket, a Velcro brand. And what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and coat the gasket surface with Vaseline. I've built many, that's what I put engines together with. Transmissions, I mean. I have put an engine or two together with Vaseline. I'm just not crazy about it. And of course that will stick there. And that is ready to go. Also, before we put it together, I have some Teflon compound I will apply to the bolts. Kind of helps lubricate. Hopefully they won't corrode as bad. There's one. And there's two. Sometimes they can be tricky. Well, hopefully this time this one isn't. Get one bolt started, and I think the other one started. Okay, now I'll go ahead and start threading it in. I'm sure you might find this boring by now, and I try to keep the boredom out of it anyway, best I can. Of course, you always check, make sure the thermostat hasn't slipped. Like I said, do not go crazy with the silicone adhesive. I do not even like using it at all. But if you have to, just use just a small amount of it. And also on these fuel-injected engines, be sure to use a sensor-safe silicone if you elect to do so. Okay, the bolts are snug. And I'm just going to go ahead and tighten them up an additional amount. That should do it. That should be good enough. Do not go crazy with over-tightening those bolts. You can break them, and when you do that, you have a problem. And of course, something else, well, let me zoom in. If you look, you'll see, just focus. Where is it? There it is. Okay, if you look, you'll see just a little bit of corrosion on that terminal. That's a bad thing. So we'll take some PB Blaster. Now what I'm doing is I'm just topping it off with some water. Here in the next couple of weeks I will do a flush. Probably going to flush it. And squeeze the upper hose kind of help bleed the air out of it. Because you hear the bubbles coming out. Some newer cars will have an actual bleeder screw that you can use to remove air. But the older ones, you just squeeze the hose and it purges the air that way. Piece of dirt, let's get rid of that. No, I want it to come out. Okay, now there we go. I think that I've about got all the air out of it. Let's see if I can force it to go into the overflow. I never seen it. There we go. You heard that over there. That's what I've done. I just squeezed it into the overflow. But just a couple more drops in. And now I'm going to put the cap on. And of course I'm just going to go back over it, check it one more time to make sure that I have no leaks. Not so much leaks, but to make sure all the bolts are tight. Go ahead and adjust the camera up. That's about right. So go ahead and check it here. That's tight. Check it here. just a little bit more. Just in case it didn't... I started to pull this, but decided I'd better not. Yeah, I'm getting ready to replace these hoses too. I'm going to make a road trip in it here before too long. I'm going to make sure everything's in good shape. Yeah, I know, a lot of miles on it, but I would not be afraid to drive this anywhere. It's tight. And one last check if I can get this ratchet on it. And I might not be able to. There we go. And that's tight. Just want to be on the safe side. Now, what is left is to start it up and check for leaks. Yeah, the battery is kind of low, so you see I'm using a charger. And I'll go ahead and start it. I don't think there's anything underneath the hood in the way. And something was in the way. I heard that. Let's see what it was. It couldn't have been much. Well, wherever it was, it has thrown it off. I see what it is. Silly me, probably can't see it. Let's see if I can zoom in down here. You look, I didn't have the belt on all the way. Okay. Well, that's a good thing I caught it just in time. Okay, I've repositioned the belt correctly on the pulleys. Now, let's give it another try. And if you actually let that run very long, it will eat a belt up in a matter of seconds. And sounds quiet. And I finally got it to idle smooth. So far, I see no leaks. Oh yeah, that was a job last week, and I didn't make a video. I didn't have time. Battery was dead anyway. But anyways, now it has to run, warm up, and check for leaks.